phrase it, but don't breathe. Does that make sense? Okay. Yeah. All right. We can breathe when the horns come in bar 4, after beat 3. Okay, we can do it there. Can you make the accent on beat 3? Can you arrive at the accent, not let it come out of nowhere? Da da da. You get to it. Don't suddenly hammer it out. Okay, make the phrase go to that, and then the same with the next one as well on beat 4. All right. One more time for the beginning. Steve, as much and clarinet, that movement you do in bar 2, and then Bill, you and Alicia in bar 4, where you move on the first couple of beats and those phrases at the end, and the phrases, make a little bit more out of those. Okay, so that we have some kind of nice little bit of movement there. All right. It makes the diminuendo easier. So especially from the oboe and bassoons, but still from the horns too. Can we start in where the flutes begin? That's bar 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think 10. 9. Sorry, I miscounted. Where the oboe and clarinet and flutes. Right? Same thing. Clarinet leads. Go. Can we get more here so that when the third and fourth come in on here, it doesn't seem like such a huge addition, and the tuba when these here, that we arrive a little bit more for that forte there. And when we add the instruments, it doesn't seem like such a big thing that it's just part of it, if we will. And can we just Lindsay lead there when you start that phrase? Of course there's no 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Bassoons, horns, and first clarinet. You don't need to worry about your last note there. Okay, ready? Sorry. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, before A. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 before A. The crescendo that you have coming up here, delay it a little, because we have other instruments coming in who are important, and we're covering them up. So delay, those of you who start this crescendo before A, and then we have, like, for instance, clarinet and first horn come in, and they're starting piano and crescendoing, and we're losing them as they enter. So delay your crescendo till we get them in a bar later, if you will. Don't try to do too much too soon. So before A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
So are we reaching for like 4 before A? Is that like the highest point?
1, 2, 3, yeah, on the third beat.
Okay.
Right where the diminuendo is, that's the high point, and then we'll come down from there on the accent. So, here we go. about this piece for me is that the diminuendos need to equal the crescendos, and it's very hard to do. Because they're so lush and they're so lovely, those big build-ups, but so are the diminuendos, and we tend to forget those a little bit. So focus on the diminuendos. Bassoons, the bar after the diminuendo again on that C, D, E flat. I love that. So just bring that out just a little bit. It's a lovely line right there when nobody else is doing anything. So it's just a beautiful little moment to accentuate. Same spot. What did I say? A before A? I think. Yeah. Okay. Fanfare. Good, sorry. Just one little thing. In the second and fourth measure of A, I know it has dots, just like it does on the previous note. To me, bar 1 and 3 of A are secco, very dry, and 2 and 4 are a little warmer, a little longer, because there's rest in between them. And so if you play them just as short, we have a lot of space there doing nothing. Okay, so maybe not quite as long in bars 2 and 4, and then bassoon and third and fourth horn, when you come in, very long is the total opposite of what they just did. Okay, so letter A.
Mark?
Yeah.
2 bars after, second bar after A,
Mm-hmm.
we've got 16th,
16th, 8th.
8th.
Right.
How do you want us?
So the 8th should be
turn
longer. Definitely longer to the end of the phrase. Yes, please end the phrase with the longer note. Okay, here we go. A. Fanfare. Ready? Long here. Tempo. Good, good. I always feel like this is a beautiful thing between the horn and the clarinet, but I feel terrible because the bassoon, this lovely bubbling brook here, gets lost in the mayhem. You know, I'd like for you to be an equal partner in this a little more. So it seems, because I don't know, I just love it. I think it's a little more equal partner than back in the background kind of thing. So you can play it up a little bit. And again, the diminuendos on the little phrasing diminuendos, accentuate those. The crescendos are fine, but it's the diminuendos that aren't. They're hard. They have to be kind of emphasized a little bit. Can we do pick up to più animato? Does everyone have that, even though people resting?
Yes.
Not? Okay. Horn and clarinet have it. Before B, and this is going to become important later on in the development section, but can you make one a little more urgent, each one? So the first one is you know, it builds just a little bit, and then it calms back down at before B, and we start the whole thing over again with a new melody on top of it all. Same spot, pick up the più animato. Also, the accented note for the horn and the clarinet you have in the second measure of the tune there. E, da, 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 dee. Just linger ever so longly on it, just a tiny little bit, and then you can make it up for the next 3. You know what I'm saying? Makes a nice phrase. All right, here we go. Pick up the più animato. a new thing. It's this clarinet and flute melody that soars over everything, and it should. So everybody take just a little bit of a back seat here. Even the previous tune, dun, dun, da, da, dun, da, 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 that tune has had its moment. It's going to sit back for a second and let this one soar over it, okay? Before B, 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't diminuendo quite as much, and I think that will build each one. I think that'll make it happen a little easier, okay? 4 before B. Ready? This is one of those few spots where we're actually all playing together. Finally, before C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bars, we finally add in the second oboe and the second horn, and finally we got everybody. Until then, it seems like it's everybody, but it's not. When we get to 4 before C, these sort of falling fountains of triplets that are there, take the 8th note before it and arrive into it. So it drives into each one of those falling triplet things. And horns and bassoons, don't be short at all. Big, full, beautiful chords underneath all that. Just let it, it doesn't have to be fortissimo, but it can be nice and full and solid. You know, nice, beautiful, because there's lovely chords sitting underneath that. And I like the way you guys built to it. It was quite lovely. How about letter B, for lack of a better place? Again, if we can, a little more from you two on that soaring melody that you have here at letter B. Okay. If you're not this soaring melody or that secondary melody from the horn and I guess it's oboe, everybody else concentrate on the diminuendos quite a bit, if you would, so that we kind of get out of the way a little bit. All right, here we go. Letter B. Ready? It's like that sort of what was over here, kind of they transferred into the 4th horn, and he's sitting there going, what in the hell am I doing with this? Take your time, woodwinds. This is pretty much all the woodwinds who have at letter C, the first 2 bars, da, da. The first one's the arrival at letter C, then piano, da, 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 da. Take your time and get a good, you can almost get a breath in there for those. Don't be in a hurry to rush those 8 notes at all. That's lovely at before C. That's exactly it. It just, to me, everybody concentrates on the triplets, but they don't concentrate how to get there. And it's that 8th note that arrives into it that makes it more interesting. Can we just do that again? Because I just love it. How about B? And we'll go on, I promise. Sometimes, you know what? I've probably played this piece like 6 times, and I've loved it many, many, many times. I don't think I've ever actually conducted it over all these years. So it's kind of a thrill to get you guys here and do it. Letter B, letter B. That's much better as far as balance, too. We're starting to hear all the things going on. Here we go. closely at their note there.
No, I came in a bar early.
Okay, that would be it.
Concert D flat, which is gonna kill everything.
Yeah, it's gonna
Maybe.
clash with that A
I
flat
don't know.
as
There's some
well.
interesting. He actually, believe it or not, this is an E flat, and there's a moment where he goes in B major
Awesome.
into development. So it's kind of interesting there. The chords after C for clarinets, some horns and bassoons. These aren't quite as big and they're just pretty simple here as opposed to what we just did before C and that big heavy sound there. This is much lighter in that. And then one of the more difficult moments I think is this one coming up where the flutes come in about after C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, seventh measure after C. It's an awkward moment. It's a little bit of a transition and it's decrescendoing a lot, which makes it a little difficult there to do that. So it makes it a little tricky little spot. Let's go from letter C. Thanks for coming. He's our contra bassoon. Sorry, tuba player.
Brass contra, right?
We miss you.
Name Laura.
We miss you much. We'll go back and do that again. It's one of those things like, gosh, trying to count and find this. After C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 after C, there's that swell, but we didn't, some of us tried to come down, but some of us were kind of enjoying our part too much. So make sure you come down a little bit here. And then that's kind of an unusual little spot here. We have pianissimo before we take off again. And we're coming up to one of Franz Strauss's proud moments at D. Or you could smile with a big smile with the horns. Okay. So we'll start at C again once Rob gets settled. Yeah, when you see a decrescendo, focus on it a lot, and especially in this section here. We're getting to the end of the exposition, so.
Since may I ask a
Yeah, we'll
question
stop,
since
yeah.
we're
Question?
coming upon it? After that tempo 1, after D, when we start slowly heading into the B minor section,
Right,
so at tempo 1,
that's the development section.
yeah,
Mhm.
sostenuto 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think it's the 7th measure of that. Is my pitch a concert A natural or B flat?
I have you as you're in B flat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Correct. So you're in a B sharp. That's an A sharp. Yeah. Am I got that wrong? Or am I going the wrong way?
I have a B sharp written.
Mhm.
Our key signature is B flat.
Mhm.
And when I
No,
played the
that's correct.
so that
Odd
is-
as it is correct.
I've got the B sharp there as well,
so you have
and
a
I'm
concert.
playing B flat horn.
Yes, she does. Yes, she got it too.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of those precocious little moments where it's like, whoa, you went to what key? You know.
Well, it's
So-
just the confusion is one to get the B flat out to cancel out. It would be natural rather than sharp. But also, when I played the B sharp, it sounded wrong.
We'll check it when we get there.
Okay.
There were some mistakes that were several, including mine. I started Jeff at the wrong time at tempo 1 anyway, and that didn't help anything. We had all kinds of mistakes there. So let's go back to letter C. And I'm sure you had lots of time to warm up, of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
So we will expect no wrong notes.
We'll be perfect in every way. One thing we've been talking about, Rob, just so you know, is that, and especially in sections like this, where we have focus on decrescendos, because we tend to do those not as well as crescendos. So try to focus on those. Letter C. Letter C. In 4. Well, yeah, you know that. Okay. Here we go. Sorry, guys. I wanted to just give you a chance to play through that a little bit so we could get a little sense of it. But one little thing that we're losing a little bit here is after letter C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th measure after C. Can everybody, especially if you don't have much of a moving part, but pretty much most everybody but the flute, can we get out of the way, because the bassoon has a lovely little moment. First bassoon has a lovely little moment here, and we're really blighting it out right now. And I'd love to hear it if we could. So come way down a little quicker in that bar so that the bassoon can be heard on their little line that they have. Let's do that one more time from C. In some ways, this size of development is kind of the weirdest part of the exposition. All right, here we go, C. Let's try it again. Ready? Letter C. Before D, this coming into D right here, pick up to 4 before D is one of those few spots where we actually do have everybody playing. I wanted to point out these because they don't happen very often. Actually, you'd be surprised. You'd think with such a small ensemble we'd all be playing a lot more, but actually he's very judicial with his orchestration, and it's very carefully done nicely. And there's that lovely moment at D where Franz just smiles and smiles. You can play. You're a solo here, so you can play out a little bit on that line there. How about we do, just to get into it, before D, 4 bars. We'll just start on the climax of that. Here we go. I can understand taking the breath, but don't lose the energy. In this, the second bar we just played there, if you're going to take a breath, that's fine. Just keep the energy going after the breath. It kind of just sort of went, the balloon kind of went a little flat, you know. Keep the energy up here.
Could we
Okay.
start 5?
Hmm?
Could we start 5 before?
Sure, 5 before.
It's just a horrible place to start.
Yep, no problem. Here we go. that's hard to. I'm trying to cut off them and cue you in,
Oh,
and I
okay.
didn't do a very good job of it. Just a reminder of bar before tempo 1, we breathe in the middle of the bar except for Rob, who's holding a half note, but everybody else takes a breath there. Okay, between the quarters and the 2/8. This figure that the bassoons have, bum 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 bottom, it's a little menacing and it's very crucial of what's about to come up next. So even though it says pianissimo, just be a little more present with it. It's a big driver of what comes up next in the development. So I want to kind of precurse what's about to happen, if we will. You have that thundering herd behind you. You can play out a little bit more if you want to on that little solo. Why don't we do the same spot before D, because the horns just want to do that again, I'm sure.
Question.
And I love hearing it.
Is this working, or do you want to try with the mute?
No, it seems to be coming.
Okay.
It seems fine. Yeah, it seems fine. So 5 before D, 5 before D. And that was much better. The energy after the breath was much better. It can be even a little bit more. It went, first time it went down like that much, and the next time it went down only that much. Let's see if we can keep it up where it was. Okay. Here we go. Well, 5 before D. Good. I love what you're doing, Jeff. That's absolutely lovely.
Okay.
Don't feel, in this place, don't feel you have to diminuendo it too much, because you are the soloist.
Okay.
Okay. Can we just hear that chord after tempo 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, where all the sharps are? Just let's hear it real quick. Make sure our ears believe what it really is.
Say it again. 7 after?
7 after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 7 after everybody. Most of you got a sharp somewhere. Ready? You don't believe that chord is actually going to go there, because it's like, really? You know, but he's 17 years old. He's allowed. All right. Rob, earlier we said that coming up here right before the più animato, we have a quarter and then 2/8 that are got a dot and a tie. Every time that happens, I'd like the breath to be in between the quarter and the 2/8.
Okay.
So don't breathe at the bar line.
Gotcha.
Breathe after the bar line on the quarter. And that's true like at the end as well, for
Yep.
instance. Anytime that
Spots like
happens. Yeah. Does that make more sense, Jeff, when I'm
Yeah,
trying
it's
to cut
perfect.
off them and go
I'm not
with you?
gonna botch you there.
You are the soloist. You got some freedom here, so go. Just enjoy yourself. Let's go ahead at tempo 1 and start there. Mhm. The più animato it won't take off like a bullet, but it will take off a little bit. Okay. All right. Tempo 1. Ready? Sorry, hold all the way to 2. Hold all the way to 2. That way we don't make a space between his entrance and your cutoff. Okay, he comes in on the end of 1 each time in the second and fourth measure of tempo 1, and I'd like it to connect, so there's no space. There we go, one more time at tempo 1. Just so you know, in the third measure, horns and bassoons, the clarinet plays a quarter note and then she cuts off. So if you give a cutoff in the middle of the measure, it's not for you. Tempo 1. Good, good. I feel like it needs to drive just a hair more. Not a lot, but just a tiny bit more. It needs to be a little bit on the front of it. Also, you're doing a fairly good job, but if we could especially pull back if you're not part of the melody every time. It's these little, he actually is doing a lot of 5-bar phrases where he's doing 3 and then 2, and each time it starts back over again with the piano on the second beat. And it needs to come back. And I feel like the melody's coming back a lot, but the accompaniment not as much. And I'd like to reverse that a little bit, if we could. Più animato. And yeah, that's the best place to start. Okay. Più animato after tempo 1 that we passed a little while ago.
After F?
Before E.
Right before.
Have an F sharp to a D, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
12 before E.
Oh, is that 12/4/E? Sorry. That's on another page.
No.
All right, here we go. Everybody find it? Something didn't add up. Let's just try that again. Sorry. Here we go. One more time. Okay, good, good. This one doesn't actually get soft right there. All the other ones did, but actually that one's part of a bigger thing that's coming up to our tempo 1. So clarinet and horn, don't feel that you have to fall back down to piano at this spot.
Okay.
It's after E, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? Nice job of coming down, that's much better. But here, this is part of a bigger thing that's moving forward, okay? So don't feel the need to come down too much there with that. Much nicer, the shape of it's starting to make sense now. Whereas before it was just kind of this immersive blob of sound. And as my teacher used to say, mezzo blah. Which is great term. Letter E. Letter E. I think you see what I mean about how this drives the development here that I was talking about that other spot before. And I love it. I just think that's a great way that music sings in the tube. E. Who are playing the repetitive da 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 is getting a little bit in the way, and if you have quarter notes that tie across the bar line, that sort of thing, you're getting in the way of this little back and forth between bum, bum, bottom, bum, bottom, bum, bottom, bum, bottom. You know, it's going back and forth here, and we're losing a little bit of that argument with the wash. So, yes, we still need to crescendo, but can you do it underneath that as you get bigger, okay? It's getting a little bit in the way there right before the tempo one, and that's what really drives us to the tempo one. And believe it or not, all that big sound that you're making up to the tempo one, we still don't have everybody playing. Our poor fourth horn player doesn't come in until tempo one. He has to wake up and start playing again. On that. There, yeah. Damn Strauss. Letter E one more time. Okay, that was better, by the way, there where I mentioned after E, where we don't go down quite as much. That was much better that time. It kept the drive of the larger thing going. Letter E, as that made no sense at all, I don't think, did it? Here we go. As you diminu after tempo one, don't lose the fact that you're still phrasing. There's several of those inside of that. So please phrase those as you come down on the diminu window. Don't leave those unsung, if you would. Please, many of you have it in the third bar of a tempo one, and then I know some of you have it there a couple bars later, and successive ones of them, and then it gets stretched out into quarter notes at the fermata. So don't miss that opportunity to phrase, even though we're getting softer. If you're not doing it, just keep diminuing, but if you are, there's a wonderful thing of that. That was much better going into tempo one. Can we do that before the tempo one? 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 6 bars before the tempo one. That's that spot where I said not to go down too much for the horns and the clarinets. Don't get softer yet. I know you're going down, and there's a natural tendency to go softer as you go down, but don't get softer yet. Stay full. We don't get to do that very often with the full ensemble. So for these two measures, stay full, especially those who are moving downward. You have a tendency to get softer. Can we do that again, please? And there was something in my mind that I was going to say. Oh, I did it, and I was wrong. Please do not slow down before the tempo one. The B flat at the downbeat of tempo one gives us a moment to establish the slower tempo again. Okay. So don't don't slow down before you get off on the off ramp. Okay. All right, same spot. 6 before the tempo one, after E. have this lovely stuff after the bar, the 2 bars after the fermata on the 4th beat. Ba-da-da-da, that lovely little moment. Please bring that out a little bit more. You're the only one who has that.
Mark?
Yeah.
After the fermata?
Yeah.
The horns have that beautiful little thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's marked,
With the bassoons.
it's marked pianissimo. And we have
Yes, you can
pianissimo.
soar a little bit, but I'd like Deb to lead that a little bit because she has the tune. And also, from earlier in the rehearsal, as you may remember when we were up here with this tune, this is the recap, that we said we wanted to arrive at the accents, not just suddenly pound them out. So they're before F, 1, 2, 3, and 4 before F. Arrive to those accents. Don't just go da, ba, da, but move to them and make them happen, okay? If you would. Bar after the fermata. Those of you holding over, you don't have to worry about it. Okay, this is just mostly bassoon and horns. Okay, here we go. Ready? Good. Sorry, with 2 before F, somebody has a moving line on each beat, and I don't hear all of them. I'd love to hear every single one. Second horn has it, and with first bassoon on the first beat. Third horn has it on second beat. Bassoons have it, and bassoon tuba have it on third beat, and then we have the lead take it on the last beat there. So that little it's just a lovely little tiny little things that he wrote in here. Even at 17-year-old, he's obviously got a lot of talent, and I don't want to miss out on those things, you know. So bring those little things out again. Do make the accent. You went to it, but you didn't really have an accent. There was coming up to it, and then it was unsatisfying. You know, go ahead and give the accent once you arrive there. Okay. All right. Same spot right after the fermata. Here we go. Too pedantic here. No, don't be too pedantic with this. Keep it moving. Same as before. The first and third measure woodwinds, very secco and dry, but then the second and fourth measure, because of the rest, make them a hair longer, and especially the last note, even though it's got a dot, it is an 8th note. You give it that thing. And then bassoon and horn, when you come in after F, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th measure there on the third beat, those are totally long to make the contrast between what we've done at F. Okay, letter F. Fanfare, ready? Here where emphasis on the decrescendos, and you can linger on the clarinet and bassoon, you can linger on the accent, and I think some other folks have it too. Steve, as much of the bubbling brook as we can get there. But dee da da da, dee da da da, you know, just a little bit more on that first lingering. It gives the accent a little more. It's more that kind of accent than a, you know, hit. And then there, when we start the yun dun dun dee da 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 dun dun, not quite back as much, so you build on each one, and then we can ease it back down. I did not say this earlier, and I should have. flute and oboes, when you come in like before G here and you do it earlier in the piece, we are going to pull back a little bit, so make the notes a little bit longer as you come down so that the slowing down doesn't feel too secco, too dry. Okay. All right, più animato. That is after F. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Seventh measure with pickup. Seventh measure with pickup. Here we go. Sorry, there's a pickup in the clarinet and the bassoon. Clarinet and bassoon have a pickup on 4. You can lengthen it just a hair more. That's it. That we were doing earlier we're not doing now, and we'd like to do that. Emphasis on decrescendo. At letter G, the new soaring tune comes in on top of what just happened before, and we're kind of losing them with all the wash. So be careful that we don't do too much when you have things like quarter notes or just basic background things, that we don't worry too much about the crescendo and a lot about the decrescendo, so that those things can come out, because they're getting lost a little bit. This time it's the horn and the clarinet, while the other folks continue on that melody, the letter G. Let's try that one more time at letter G. So if you aren't part of those two melodies, we stack it, with the soaring one and the horn and the clarinet, and then dun 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 dun. That older melody is still there, but not as much as that, and then everything else kind of sits underneath that and plays there.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't have
G.
My part's missing G.
Okay, here we go.
Pick up,
Question?
with
No.
pickup.
No, it's probably a little easier to just start right on it. Okay. Good, much better this time. Triplets, we talked about leading into them, which we're doing fairly well with, but I want to add one more thing to it, is that in a sense, he's taking each triplet thing and he's moving up ever so slightly higher with the general idea of it until we finally get to tempo 1, until we finally come to the end of that phrase. So we're losing a little bit of energy in the middle of that, especially when he goes into the more interesting harmony ones, that, it starts to lose some of its impetus forward. So keep that energy moving forward all the way to the tempo 1 note, okay? We all finally get a full ensemble again. This is before the tempo 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on the second beat when the second horn finally comes in. That's good. Bill, I know there's a lot going on and it's really hard, but all of this, except where we just sort of, when you starting doing the same note over and over again, but from letter G, you're the bubbling brook, and I know you're kind of lost in the middle of all this, but I'd love to hear a little bit more of you, because it's always that third voice that gets lost a little bit, and I always love hearing it, because it's such a nice little addition to what all the other stuff is going on. Can we do it one more time from G?
Quick question.
Yeah, Chris.
Sorry.
No, please.
In that triplet section where we need to keep the energy up before the tempo.
Right.
Once we get to the odd tempo, we're back at a piano and there's a ritardando.
And slower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. or no, 2 before?
Tempo 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we want to start a decrescendo there
Mm-mm.
without losing
No.
energy? No. Okay.
I want it driving all the way to the downbeat of tempo 1, then we start to piano. So there's a rigid one of the, we've arrived, then we're starting over with something new.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, back at what was that? E?
G.
G, sorry. G. Okay, much better job that time. I started hearing the individual voices that were needed, and the wash didn't overwhelm, and that's much nicer. Letter G. Ready? This is not one of those places where everybody has the same rhythm as you, so you don't have to treat that one like all the others.
Gotcha.
Okay, it's different in that spot because other people are playing different things. Can we lay the Easter egg down a little more gently at the end of the phrase after tempo 1, clarinets, bassoons, and third horn? Dee da dee da. Oh, whoops. You know, just try to hand the Easter egg off a little more gently at the end of the phrase if we could. I know it gets a little low and it gets a little tricky, but don't feel like you need to go so soft that we lose the ability to do that. Okay? Bring it down, yes, but bring it down in a controlled way where we can, here's this lovely thing at the end of it, okay? Instead of, you know, and it suddenly fumbles out of our hands, okay? Much better going into tempo 1 that time. The drive was there, and it's a harmonic drive, which is very difficult to do because it's because of the harmony that drives it forward, not necessarily just the notes. It's the actual stacked up harmony of it. Okay, tempo 1. Don't have to worry too much about the first note. That's really okay. My fault. I just completely missed that you come in there, Randy. We need for the clarinet to lead at H, and then pick up to the third bar, the second clarinet and first bassoon to lead here, and everything else to be underneath that. They can step forward a little bit more, and everybody else can step back a little bit more. Okay, with that spot. I love moments like this in a piece because it's almost like the composer saying, coming to the end. You know, it's like the little signal there. Yeah, Wendy.
5 before H, are you taking your retired there?
Maybe just a tiny one. You know, I like to pull and press and tug and pull and you know, one time yes and next time no. Who knows? You know, it's that kind of piece to me. Okay. H. So lead here, Lindsay, and then you guys can lead after that. but don't make a big break on it. Just more about tonguing than it is a break. Okay, to me, in my way of looking at it, it's not. I know some people take a break there. I just prefer it as being, because I've already set up this whole thing where we've breathed. So to me, those two notes lead into the last note for the way I see it. So I'd rather be more just about tonguing than about separating on the last two notes. Okay, absolutely glorious. Randy, when you come in, if you can come in a little gentler, that would be. It feels a little
On the end or?
At the after H, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think it is.
Okay.
On that note, yeah, if you could be just a little more gently on that A flat there, that would be great. No, the ending's fine. Ending's fine. For those of you who are coming in on the second last measure, let Maureen's last triplet, dee da da, lead you in. Let her lead you in with it on her last triplet that she comes in there. Let's do that one more time at H. I love this ending. Absolutely love it. That was excellent. That was beautiful. Here we go. Ready?